Hello everybody, welcome to Know Your Money. I'm Bronwyn Wayner.
And I'm Craig Finch, and we are from Growth Financial Planning. We hope you enjoy our podcast.
Hello everybody. Today Craig and I would like to discuss something that we feel is a little bit concerning for South Africa as a whole, and especially our clients. We have noticed that there's such an uptick in gambling, and we think that it is actually a little bit of a problem. Do you feel that way, Craig? What are your thoughts?
Bron, yes, I do. I mean, this started when I started seeing this in Australia when my mom was living there about 10 years ago on the sports channels. All the interruptions were referring to gambling, and mostly online gambling. So online gambling is you can gamble on your phone. Nobody really knows you are gambling. So in a casino environment, you have to walk into a casino. You might be embarrassed because you see somebody you know there. And that's a little bit more difficult, even though if you might have a gambling problem, you would probably still go there. But this is a lot worse because anybody can gamble on their cell phone.
Yeah.
And it's incredible how you watch all the adverts now in the sporting arenas. When I watch sport, everything is referring back to the gambling sites. And I don't think this money stays in South Africa either. It's not going around in South Africa. And that's a big problem. So it's leaving our country. So it's not helping our economy. And then our clients, and not our clients, everybody who gambles can be destitute. And that's a huge problem. I actually picked up an article in MoneyWeb. I need to put my glasses on. I'll just read it to you. The CEO of a company, and it is a retailer, and the retailer is TFG. Now, TFG own Fashini, Markram, Sports Scene, Total Sports, American Swiss, Jet and Choreographed. And he was just saying how they want the government to regulate this and almost ban some of the online gambling, what people are doing. So the problem with this is that he says that Stats SA says online betting market has grown from 10 billion to 150 billion in the last 5 years, which is so bad. And Pick and Pay and Checkers and other companies that do the fast food companies have noticed a decline in their sales, and they say it's attributable to people instead of buying food, clothing, looking after their family, and they're gambling. And that's a massive problem. And I know of two instances in I know somebody who gambled at a casino years ago. This woman had a gambling problem, had to ban herself eventually, but she got paid on the one Friday. Her salary was paid, and she's a single mother with one daughter, and she put a whole salary that night into the casino. So the next day she had no food on the table, and so that's how people can get addicted to gambling.
Yeah.
And another guy I know, he had to leave the company he was working for. He was there for over 20 years, but he owed gambling debts that he had to take his pension money of 20 years, liquidate that and pay these gambling debts, because there were also unscrupulous lenders as well that you see in the movies. So that's one aspect, but I think the aspect that is concerning is this online gambling, that anybody can do it on your phone, and we just want to warn people that gambling is really, really bad. That there's no good outcome. I mean, we heard the CEO of Sun International talk a couple of years ago, and he said 80% of their revenue came out of gambling, not out of food and beverage and hotels.
Sure.
And 80% of that were the slot machines. And this was before online gambling became as problematic as it is. So, and that stat shows that 10 to 150 billion is crazy numbers.
I think you're right, and I think overall it is an addiction, and those are one of the many addictions that often people do face and struggle with, and it really isn't easy. And I think the main crux of why we're bringing it up today is because that affects your money, which ultimately affects your life. And we just want to try, if there is anyone struggling, help them to realize that. My family was actually, my grand, my aunts, and my mom were all like serious gamblers. Sometimes when my dad would drop me off for the weekend, she'd say, no, I don't want Bronwyn here this weekend because I'm going out and gambling. And sometimes my cousins would have to sleep on the side of the gambling thing because they were all inside gambling. So it is a reality, and it is something that a lot of people can face, not just, everyone thinks, oh, well, it's not going to happen to me. And I think what you're highlighting is also so important, is that was back then where people could see, okay, you're not showing up for your kids, you're doing this because you have to leave and go somewhere and gamble. Now that it's on your phone, it can literally destroy lives.
Completely.
Yeah.
And you'll be a slave to that, because there's no way that the house loses.
Yeah.
So the house always wins. There's no, you'll get people, I won this money, but they don't tell you all the other times they've lost, and the house will never lose money. And you can look at what these, like Sun City's a magnificent piece of real estate, beautiful hotel, built on the back of gambling. If they were losing money, they wouldn't have been able to build that magnificent resort. And it's people's money. And you become a slave to it. So we're just saying to everybody, be aware of it. If you get tempted to put a gambling app on your phone, don't. If it's not on your phone, you can't do it, then it's less of a temptation taken away. And if you have a problem, there are many, many organizations. I Googled it earlier. There's about 4 or 5 help sites where you can help you if you've got this problem. And I just, please, if you are in that situation, go and get help now. Don't let it get out of hand.
Yeah. And also we are here to help
100%.
If there is anything, because I think on the back of that, if you do find yourself getting over this addiction, you are going to need some help and planning on what your future looks like.
Yeah, great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, Craig.
Have a good day. Cheers. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this podcast, would like to subscribe, please visit our website, www.growthfp.co.za. The information we have provided in this podcast is our personal opinion. For more detailed information, please discuss your financial situation with a financial planner.